What's good, football fans? Back at you once again with another video. And today I wanted to take a look at running back Chris Rodriguez Jr., who was the 193rd pick in the 6th round of this year's NFL draft. Now, Rodriguez is 5'11 and 224 pounds, and he's about to turn 23 years old. And in 40 games at the University of Kentucky, he had 3,643 yards and 33 touchdowns rushing, to go along with 20 receptions for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving. And for Rodriguez, that averages out to about 6.2 yards per carry, which is beastin' like everybody in here already knew. But this guy only started 8 games in 2022 because of a suspension due to a DUI conviction in May of 2022 that came not long after his mother passed away in January of 2022 after battling lupus. I'm almost 100% convinced that's the reason why this guy fell to the 6th round. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get him where we got him. And with that said, let's just hop right into his film. You know, it didn't take long for me to fall in love with this guy, and this play right here is a perfect example of why. Did y'all see that? Watch him come off this edge right here. Look, he just ate that first hit, watch. So he comes out with a stiff arm, like, take that, and then, bow, he ate that hit. Did y'all see that? Look, I love to see that. Like, the defender comes up, he's like, yo, take that. And my dude just puts him to the ground. Bow. Now, this is the type of short yardage back that we could use down in the red zone. I absolutely love how this guy can just eat hits. You know, he broke a little shoestring hit there, and then you look, he just took 2 right there, spun around in a circle. Honestly, had he not lost his balance, he probably could have kept going. Watch. Bop, bop. Took that one. Yeah, man, his body just ran out of balance. Otherwise, he probably could have gone another 3 or 4 yards. He spun, what was that? Is that a good 360 there? There's the round. Oh, look around again. Look, he did 2 360s. My man did a 720 on 2 hits, 8 to hits, and lost his balance. He still didn't take a hit that knocked him down. Now, what I noticed from this guy's film is not only can he take hits, but he can also make some really good cutbacks and take off upfield if the hole's there. I mean, his line wasn't the greatest in the world, but he definitely made the most with what he had. And as you see, this guy is seriously hard to bring down. I mean, the first hit rarely gets this guy to even fall a certain way. It's going to take a couple hits, and then maybe he might even drag you a yard or 2. And I actually think that he has some, sneaky quickness for his size too. Look, right, he ate that hit, touchdown. I mean, the guy can get going. I'm not saying he's the fastest running back in the world, but this guy can get it going for somebody that's 224 pounds. And I'm telling you right now, that first hit, maybe not even that second hit, is going to bring him down. It's going to take a continuation of hits. Like in this situation right here, like half of that defense had to hit him to bring him down. How many players did it take to bring that man down? Let's count them. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hell, 5 and a referee. Did y'all see that? The referee even got in on it. Look, 5 people and a referee to bring that man down. Look, 5 people and a ref. As I said, not only does the man have cutback ability, but that first hit's not bringing him down. And if you don't get him with the second one, you best try to bring those legs down, because he's just going to take you with him. You know, watch him. He just right up through the gut, carries him with him. I'm telling you, man, they had to be passing memos around about this guy being a tough tackle in the SEC, because he is not going down with that first hit. And sometimes the best looking hit, he just runs right through it. I mean, watch him just absorb this. Bow. Yeah, I mean, he goes down. The man behind him brings him down, but he just absorbs that hit. Bow. He definitely seeks out contact. And I hear that Marshawn Lynch is his hero, or the guy that he looks up to, and that's why he wears 24. Well, I could see his style in him. I'm not trying to say that he is Marshawn, but I could see that style. And I'm telling you, he's sneaky fast for a guy that could absorb those kind of hits, you know. He could take some hits and he can move quick. I mean, that's a hell of a combination. Nothing special here, just up the gut for 18 yards and 2 broke tackles, that's all. I mean, my man absorbs that first hit. Doesn't matter if it's from a linebacker or a safety or a defensive lineman. He's taking that first hit and absorbing it. Coming off his own end zone right here, coming into your living room. And it takes how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders to get him down. A rumbling and a bumbling. I mean, seriously, who out there doesn't believe this guy could be our red zone back? I feel like one thing that may have gone overlooked with him quite a bit is his hands. I feel like that's a skill that just really wasn't utilized a whole lot while he was at Kentucky. And I looked at every bit of film that this kid's ever put out there while he was at University of Kentucky, and I can tell you that just about every time the ball's thrown to him, he puts his hands on it. Don't look now, just him running over another guy and then taking 4 or 5 Gamecocks to knock him on the ground. Again, underrated hands. Every time I see the ball thrown to him, he makes the catch. Now, you know, I scoured this guy's film looking for something that I could remotely compare to Marshawn Lynch. And this play right here is probably the closest as he gets hit and he kind of scatters sideways, if you see there, and kind of backwards. Kind of reminds me of Marshawn Lynch's little, you know, thing where he would run crazy like backwards and sideways. Kind of reminds me a little bit of him and some film that maybe the younger guys have seen of beast mode back in the day. Man used to exert some power with the way that he scattered across the field like that sideways. Now this play right here will show you his quickness. As you see, he makes one cut and he's gone, and he outruns the defenders there, the little corners and whatnot. And to me, that shows that he's a lot quicker than you would think for a guy that weighs in at 5'11" and 224 pounds. Honestly, from a lack of a better way of saying it, the guy just runs angry. He does, and he makes good cuts too. You know, when I'm looking over the film from a running back, it's always kind of tough for me to be able to determine, you know, how good the running back is versus how well his line blocked versus how good the play calling is and all that kind of good stuff. And I always want to show, you know, can he do this? Can he do that? But then at some point, you always have to turn on the stuff where he just breaks one if he has that kind of film. And this guy has that kind of film. And I was actually surprised at how much of that type of film there is, because he actually can turn the afterburners on and take off and make you say, wow, that guy's 224 pounds, you know, because I mean, he just outruns complete defenses at times. And I like to see that in a running back of that stature and size. Now, a guy that likes to, you know, to seek out contact first, but can knock somebody down and run somebody over and freaking take off and go on a 60, 70 yard run without being touched the entire time through the line of scrimmage, that's my kind of running back. I like to see that. Another thing that always stands out for me with running backs, you know, a lot of people want to see how many yards they have, how many touchdowns they have. And for me, yeah, I'm interested to see how many touchdowns they have in the red zone, if they can catch the ball and if they can run the ball. But I honestly would like to see in a lot of situations if they could block. And I didn't see a lot of film one way or the other from Rodriguez, but I'll show you guys what I did find. And as you see right here, this play right here, he was able to get a good block on the guy coming off the edge and protect his quarterback, so he was able to get rid of it. Now, this play right here was a bad snap to Will Levis, and he was able to come in and block that first guy in the hole and actually broke Levis free for about 4 or 5 yards there, which I think without it, Levis probably would have taken a pretty big hit, maybe even fumbled. But yeah, he made that first block on 32 right there, if you see, right there. In this game against Missouri right here, if he hadn't made this block, this would have been a sack, for sure. It almost was a sack anyway because the guard on the other side over there lost his guy, and yeah, it almost ended up being a sack. In this play here, he takes out his man's knees, but he blocks his guy though, so that's what you're supposed to do. Here's another play where he steps up and prevents the sack, because that would have been a sack coming up the gut. If you watch it from this angle, you'll see number 0 was just about to terrorize Will Levis, and he was able to get in there and make his block. That's the kind of thing that you want to see from a running back, you know, on your second and third down passing plays where he's in the backfield. And basically that's the only thing that's saving you from losing, you know, several yards, maybe even losing the ball right there, because there's nobody back there otherwise to make the block. I honestly think that this play right here is just an example of poor pass protection, you know, in the scheme itself, not necessarily from any one player, because Rodriguez makes his block, but you know, there's just too much going on from the defense, and they still get their hands on Levis. It's actually probably more so on the left tackle for losing his guy. Now, Rodriguez does fairly much his job there and blocks his guy out of the play, but the other guy just can't contain his man. Another example that's similar on this play right here, the right tackle loses his man, and Rodriguez can't get up in time, you know, and fast enough to be able to block that guy coming off the edge, and Levis takes the sack. And that's the kind of play right there that your quarterback can easily get hurt on, but that's not the running back's fault. Only reason I'm pointing that out is because I want you to see that he does make an effort to try to make that block, even though he can't. And the reason he can't is because as he goes to get the fake handoff, he's already out of position to make the block. That's definitely on the tackle over there and on the tight end over there, who missed their blocks altogether. Now, in this play right here, he makes the mistake, misses his block, gives up the sack. You can get a better angle of it from this direction right here. And yeah, he just outright misses his block right there. And the guy he's supposed to put his hands on, number 13, gets in there and makes the sack. I mean, with some speed, too. He just, 1 second he's not there, and the next second he's right on top of the quarterback. I always try to look for the good and the bad. And one thing that I saw after looking at a lot of film was Rodriguez has a tendency sometimes to put the ball on the ground down by the goal line. And I hate to even point it out, but it's on the film, so here it is. I have to show it to you guys. Like, this first one, he just loses the ball as he crosses the goal line. You'll see it as soon as he gets hit, the ball just jumps out, which I'll tell you is not an issue that I've seen other places on the film. Here's the second example. Pretty much the same thing, except for the ball doesn't go airborne. It just hits the ground. Now, in that second one, his team, you know, was able to get the ball back, so they didn't lose possession, but it was still a situation that they probably wish they could have avoided. Now, the third one was a little bit of an odd situation, kind of a little trick formation or whatever, in the Wildcat, where he came out as the quarterback, and he ends up as the ball carrier, and as he goes to twist into the end zone, the ball just flies out of his hand. It's crazy. But obviously the thing that I'm pointing out here is the ball security is obviously off there, because the ball just tumbles out, and his teammate gets it, and it's called a touchdown after his teammate recovers it. It's just odd, because if you see the replay from the side, you can't see it right here. They showed it on, obviously, on the broadcast, the game. But when you see it from the side, he was not even over the goal line when the ball came out there. So it's kind of an odd situation. Still a touchdown, though. Just want to read you guys his scouting report. A 3-star recruit, Rodriguez was the number 64 running back in the 2018 recruiting class and the number 114 recruit in Georgia. Very active in high school sports year-round, he didn't go to many camps to boost his name on the recruiting trail. He was hoping to receive an offer from in-state Georgia, but the Bulldogs only signed one back in that class, and they landed the number 1 ranked running back recruit, Zamir White. Rodriguez did hear from several other SEC schools, including offers from Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. Prior to his senior year, he signed with the Wildcats, who were looking for a running back with a similar style to take over for Benny Snell Jr. Rodriguez, who is younger for his class because he skipped a grade in elementary school, graduated with his degree in community leadership and development in May of 2022, becoming the first in his family to graduate college. Strengths: built like a linebacker with his big-boned, broad frame, gets rolling downhill with his body strength and momentum that makes him tough to bring down. Wears number 24 because of Marshawn Lynch, his idol. Tackle attempts above the waist are a waste. Routinely takes defensive backs for a ride once he clears the first wave. Physical at the line of scrimmage with the inside vision to follow his blocks. Shows the patience to allow the lane to widen, but also the agile footwork to work through narrow holes. Fumbles decreased from 6 in 2021 to only 1 in 2022. Durable runner and able to handle a large workload. Owns the body composition and toughness to step up in the hole and stone rushers. 2-year team captain. Dependable production when on the field, averaging 6.2 yards per carry in his career. Responsible for 35 total touchdowns, which is the third most in school history behind Benny Snell and Randall Cobb. Weaknesses: runs tall and gives tacklers a big target. Average burst runner and occasionally guilty of making an extra backfield move instead of immediately getting downhill. Often caught when racing to the perimeter and won't outrun NFL pursuit. His footwork on 90-degree cuts is more clunky than sharp. Not elusive in the open field. Inconsistent reading and reacting to blitzers and pass protection. Struggles to uncover in his routes. Even simple screens. Only 30 career targets, 3 drops over 5 seasons. Lackluster experience on special teams coverages, 141 career snaps over 5 years. Served a 4-game suspension as a senior after he was arrested and charged with driving under the influence and careless driving in May of 2022. A 2-year starter at Kentucky, Rodriguez was the lead back in former offensive coordinator Rich Scarangello's pro-style scheme. Over the last 2 seasons, he averaged 108.7 rushing yards per game and finished his career number 3 on the school's all-time rushing list with 3,644 rushing yards. He also set the school record with 20 career 100-yard rushing games. Though he gets himself into trouble when he tries to go east-west, Rodriguez does a great job keeping his momentum north-south to consistently drag defenders and fall forward for extra yards. He runs like a locomotive off the tracks but has trouble gearing back up after slowing down his feet. And he lacks breakaway speed. Only 15 of his 400 carries the past 2 seasons went for 20-plus yards. Overall, Rodriguez is a role-specific runner and unproven as a blocker pass catcher, but is a bruising ball carrier with outstanding vision and toughness. He projects as a change-of-pace power back who gets better as the game goes on. Now, he was graded out at a 5th-round grade, and the Commanders got him in the 6th, so that's a little bit of a win there for Washington. I personally think that this guy could be the short yardage back that they've been looking for. A guy that can get it done inside that 20-yard line, within the 10, 15-yard radius between there and the goal line. I personally think that this guy could be the short yardage back that Washington has been looking for a few years now. Now, the main thing that's going to hurt him as far as getting any playing time in his rookie year is the fact that that running back room is completely jam-packed with young talent now. I mean, you got Brian Robinson, who's 6'1", 228. You got Antonio Gibson, 6'2", 220. You got Jonathan Williams, 6 foot 217. And now you got Chris Rodriguez Jr., 5'11", 224. You add in Jarrett Patterson, who honestly is looking like a practice squad guy at this point, and he's 5'8", 195, which is actually still big for a guy that's that short. But you got a running back room that's got a lot of dynamics there. It's got a lot of different guys that can do different things. But at the same time, you got a couple of guys in there that got some, that got some decent power. I would look at Rodriguez from the bruiser standpoint of things. Like, I'd want this guy to be your short yardage, 1 to 3 yard, back. Your guy that you might put in the game down there by the end zone, and he's going to get you those small amounts of yards. Not to mention the fact that you can never have enough depth at the running back position in the NFL. We all know it. The running back position, with the way that it's used and abused now, these guys come a dime a dozen. So good running backs are always something that we could use when it comes to depth. My personal thought on this guy is that the only reason why he slipped down to where they got him was because of his suspension heading into his senior year. If he would have played the full season and had, 12, 1,300 yards, 1,400 yards on the year, this is a guy that you would have heard in the first, 2 days of the draft. You would have heard his name called. So I think we're getting a diamond in the rough right here that maybe they can make something out of. He's heading into a situation that might be a little bit tough. It's actually a really good one to be heading into, Eric Bieniemy's first year in Washington, and an offense that's looking to be geared up to score points, move the ball, and to win games. I mean, what more could a rookie running back be looking for to come into? And this gives Ron Rivera competition, which is what this guy loves. He loves to have competition at every single position. And I think this might be a year that we see Antonio Gibson move more out to the wide receiver role. So, they're going to have some carries in there to hand to somebody. I think we all know Brian Robinson's going to be the main back. Jonathan Williams is the guy that comes in to give him a breath. Rodriguez could come into play somewhere in between. I think we'll see quite a bit of this kid in preseason. At any rate, let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments about this guy. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Y'all take it easy. Peace.